the last remaining suspect from the Boston Marathon bombings has been arrested. It seems he has been taken alive. An ambulance has been called, so it is likely that he has been injured in some way. There has been an intense manhunt for this man all day long in the area there in the northern suburbs of Boston. But about 3 hours ago, a report came to police that someone had discovered a man hiding in a boat. Police converged on it. We believe that this is the ambulance that is carrying the suspect away. Police converged on the boat. Shots were fired. We waited about 3 hours. Now we have heard from the Boston police and from the mayor of Boston that the suspect has been apparently captured alive. Now, the ambulance did not seem to be in a great hurry in departing. We have no idea what the condition of the suspect is, but the ambulance clearly did not appear to be in a great hurry as it was leaving. John Miller has more information on this breaking news story. John?
All right, so now that the tactical piece is over and we don't have the risk of endangering anybody, let's walk you through everything that happened here. What we have is the lockdown was all day, and as it's lifted, one of these people, the gentleman who owns that house on Franklin, for the first time, because he's been locked in all day, decides he's going to go outside and check on things. He walks to the back of the house and he sees what appears to be a tear in the tarp covering his boat. So he gets a ladder and climbs up to see what the rip is about, and he says, I lift it up, and inside I see a bloody mess. He goes back into the house, he dials 911. The first 3 people there are 3 Boston police officers, Billy Evans, who was related to Paul Evans, the police commissioner from several years ago, Robert Murner, and Lieutenant Paul O'Connor. And they take a look at the tear in the tarp. They climb up to look in the boat, and they say something pokes up, and then there's a shot fired. There's what appears to be, and I always have to caveat, this is unfolding quickly, so it's fairly preliminary, appears to be a gun battle that then occurs between the police and the suspect. At that point, they're ordered by the incident commander to stop firing, and there's a lull in the action. And that's when we talk about that reset, where they're going to slow this down.
We are watching live coverage of the arrest of the remaining suspect in the Boston Marathon bombings. There have been cheers from this crowd. An ambulance was called to this location. John Miller's information was that a homeowner, and we have a photograph of that home, if we can bring that into part of the frame. Photograph of that home. There is a boat behind the home. John Miller's information was that this homeowner came out, saw a rip in the tarp over the boat, looked inside, saw blood, called the police, and John, the Boston police responded. They saw the man inside, and that's when this tactical situation that we've been watching for 3 hours began.
And what we're told is that a shot came from the boat. There were shots exchanged, preliminary, between the police and the suspect on the boat. And then the incident commander said, cease fire and set up a perimeter. So they set up a very tight perimeter around this location. And then at that point, the FBI's elite hostage rescue team, because the FBI is the lead agency here, and that is their top SWAT team, responded to the scene and took over tactical command of that scene. And once they had the bomb techs clear the pathway to make sure there were no devices or booby traps, the HRT operators approached the boat, got a look inside, came inside, pulled this suspect out. They had some help from the helicopter that was up there saying, we can see movement inside the boat. So they knew they were dealing with someone who was likely still alive at that point, and he was taken into custody.
So to tell the audience at this moment, headline of the moment, the suspect in the Boston Marathon bombing, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, 19 years old, has been captured. He's been captured alive, but he's been wounded. How seriously, we do not know. The police found him in a boat behind a house in the same area that they had been searching all day. Now, you can hear the crowd cheering as the police officers leave the scene. We saw an ambulance leave a moment ago. FBI agents overnight, last night, the older brother, Tamerlan, was killed. The younger brother, Joe Carr, got away from that firefight on foot and has been the subject of a manhunt ever since. And our information now is that a homeowner noticed a tear in the tarp over his boat, looked in the boat, found what was described as a bloody mess. Police responded. A shot was fired from the boat toward the police. The FBI came in and over the course of the last 3 hours pulled the man from the boat. Wounded, but alive. We are being told now by multiple sources that this is in fact Joe Carr Tsarnaev, 19 years old, the man in the white cap that we saw in the video that the FBI released yesterday, the two men that they believe were responsible for the bombings that occurred on Monday that killed 3 people and wounded 170. There is a new tweet from the Boston Police Department in capital letters, the word capture, followed by 3 exclamation marks. It goes on to say, the hunt is over, the search is done, the terror is over, and justice has won. Suspect in custody. It is a tweet from the Boston Police Department. Suspect has been captured. Don Daler has been in the neighborhood for us throughout all of this. Don, what do you see? What do you hear?
Well, just moments ago, Scott, an ambulance came by with its lights flashing. It was preceded by police officers and heading behind it also. And a number of the officers who have been driving by have been giving us the thumbs up. They're obviously just elated. But I wanted to tell you what happens next. Depending on the severity of his injuries, he will be treated in the hospital with, obviously, with top security around him. But then he will be taken most likely to John Moakley Federal Courthouse in South Boston. That's where he would be arraigned, having committed a crime in this area. And ironically, 10 years ago, Richard Reed was arraigned in the same courthouse, and you remember him as the shoe bomber on the flight. Scott.
Don, thank you very much. I want to catch the audience up on where we are now. You are watching live CBS News coverage of the capture of the remaining suspect in the Boston Marathon bombings. 19-year-old Joe Carr Tsarnaev was discovered in Watertown, Massachusetts, just north of Boston. He was wounded. We might be able to presume that he was wounded in a ferocious firefight that he was involved in with police last night. But he was apparently discovered hiding in a boat that was behind one of the residents' homes, and the FBI and Boston police have captured him. He left the scene in an ambulance a short time ago. The suspect has been captured, wounded, but alive. Bob Orr has been following events with his sources in Washington, and as we watch these live pictures, Bob, I'd like to bring you in. What do you know that's new?
Well, Scott, I think there's a real question now. There's no question that the suspect is in custody. This is the right guy. Everyone now agrees across the board. But I think the real question now becomes, what is his condition? We've held back in reporting some things for a